Summer on the beat, oh get up and shake your cheeks.
Hello and welcome to The Middle is Open. Abel Carrillo here, along with Anthony Espelin.
What's up, everybody?
And right now it's just Anthony and myself in the studio. It's been a while since we recorded. Pat and Peter were not able to, let's say, join us today, but Anthony and I, we're gonna try to do it. We're gonna try to do it without them.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try.
Yeah, that's right. Just us.
Yeah.
Just us today, man.
Yeah, we are gonna try. It is just the two of us. Nerves, man. I actually got nerves. Like, I know this isn't the first time we've done a podcast on our own. I think we've done it a couple of times, right?
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
But it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Not only recording, but just this obstacle of just like you and I.
Yep.
But then I was thinking, I actually called Anthony earlier in the week and I was like, dude, we need to get back in studio. Not so much for our listeners, our viewers, our people that tune in and hear what we have to say.
What nonsense comes out of our mouth.
But just for our sanity, just for us. This is like a therapy session. I think we kind of took advantage of that. Like so many times before we would come in every single week and then we would be have a 2.5 to 3 hour session just talking.
Yeah.
And it's so helpful to have.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
But then we kind of, I guess, I don't know. I'm only gonna speak on my part, Anthony, and then you feel free to chime in whenever you want. But I guess when you have a podcast, you start looking at the numbers and you start getting traction and people are tuning in and you're like, dude, this is badass. Oh, we could take it to the moon, you know?
Yeah.
And then you lose what made the podcast special.
Yep.
And I think that's where we've been the last year, I would say. We kind of took advantage of oh, we have listeners. We have people that want to hear what we have to say. Oh, we can do this. Oh, our studio is so fucking bad. We brag about it all the time. But the one thing that made this show so special was going back to our roots of just us coming in and just venting. Just us coming in and just expressing ourselves, whatever was on our mind. And I kind of want to get back to that. If it's 1, 2, 3 listeners that come on this journey with us, I know we've been MIA, and part of the having a podcast is the consistency. If you want to join us for 2.0, go ahead, come on in. But I want to get back to what made it special, the roots. I'm not concerned about the numbers or anything like that anymore, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my thing, Anthony. How about you? What do you have to say about my little spiel?
I mean, I feel the same way. Honestly, when we started this, it was basically just a hangout session. I felt just an excuse to get together, drink some beers, and just talk about life in general, man. Just how everybody's doing, and it's always been fascinating to me because we all kind of gone our own different ways as far as career paths and everything, and it's always been cool to at least come back together and just share experiences that we've all had, and just growing up in life in general, man. It's crazy. I don't think when we started the podcast, any of us would picture where we're at right now.
Yeah.
So just in life. So
yeah,
it's been pretty cool, man. And I'm kind of sad that we haven't been able to keep up with that, but life comes at you fast, man. What can you do?
Yeah. I mean, what are we gonna say? What are we gonna say? Nah.
Priorities, man.
Yeah, exactly. We can't put our life on the back burner. We can't put the things that we have that are close to us, our family, our jobs. We can't put those to the side and just completely invest in this podcast. I mean, it would be great.
Yeah, it's a hobby.
it's a hobby at the end of the day.
We're not depending on this to make
this isn't gonna pay Anthony's mortgage.
No.
It's not gonna pay my rent. Not gonna pay any of our bills at all.
It'd be nice maybe in the future, but
But the one thing it does do is bring us happiness.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So, and we can't dismiss that either.
Yeah.
So
honestly, that's more important to me than views or anything like that.
exactly. So it's like the balancing act right now. I think we need to kind of go back to the triple beam balance and then figure out like, okay, how do we weigh this where everyone is happy and we get this show going again?
Yeah.
So that's our thing. That's our spiel. Thank you for tuning in. This was on
that note, see you next week.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No. But yeah, Anthony, what have you been up to? Just since the last time we recorded.
Yeah, man. So I think that was 6 weeks ago, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been all over the place. Was in Orlando, went to Nashville for a week. Was in Atlanta for a week. Went to North Dakota for a week, and then went to Cleveland for a week. So I've been all over the place. My time zone is thrown completely off. Like I'm falling asleep at like 9 o'clock, and then
Really?
yeah. So it's crazy.
That's wild. That's Anthony. When you were working like 16-hour shifts at your old job, you would go to bed like at 2 a.m, wake up at 5. Like
Yeah.
you were a guy that literally slept 2 to 3 hours a night, and
Yep.
now you're like an old grandpa just going to bed at 9.
Yeah, it's just the time zone, man. It's just so crazy. Like I never really believed jet lag as a thing.
Mhm.
Like you really don't understand it. You hear about it and stuff, and you maybe take one flight and you're like, oh yeah, this sucks. But after week and being in a different time zone, it really
Yeah.
fucks you up. Just lunch schedule, like I'll get hungry earlier or sometimes
Yeah.
later, depending on where we're at, and it's crazy, man. I will say that the nice thing is that I've been traveling so often that with United, and so with United you get to get points.
Yeah,
you
you're
build up your
racking 'em
points,
up.
and so yeah, I have like 150,000 points. And the cool thing about that is I get to board first, and most
Oh,
of the time
yeah.
they bump me up to first class.
Hell yeah.
So the last couple flights have been first class, which is really nice. I'll tell you this: once you fly first class, you're like, I don't ever want to sit back there.
Yeah, with the
you have,
peasants.
you have so much more room,
Fucking
so much more comfortable. They pamper you. They bring you
Yeah.
a little hot towel and some fucking warm
Damn.
nuts, and like it's
Damn,
crazy.
warm nuts.
Warm
They
nuts,
warm
yeah.
your nuts.
Yeah, it's pretty
Sheesh.
cool. So that's the, I guess, the blessing in disguise, because that's always been the hardest part of my job, is just the traveling, just on the airplane, just being around a bunch of strangers,
Yeah.
and my size being stuck in the middle seat, is not fun,
Oh,
so
yeah.
definitely got the little lavish life a little bit, flying around, so it's been pretty cool.
That's badass.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like new to the whole flying thing. I think it was 2 years ago for Peter's wedding. It was the first time I
yeah.
ever like boarded a plane.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be like a year before that. I was supposed to go to Mexico City. It was going to be my first time,
COVID.
and then COVID happened,
Yeah.
right? So my very first time actually getting onto a plane was to go to Chicago for Peter's wedding. And no nerves, whatever. It was like not a big deal, right? Well, now like I've flown to LA, I've flown to Guadalajara, I've flown to Dallas. Like there's been plenty of places. Like I feel like I'm a savvy vet now. Like I've had quite a few vacations now, and more are to come. Like I have more lined up in the future, and it's cool. The one thing that was kind of surprising to me, and like if you're listening to this, you're gonna be like, this guy's a fucking idiot. What a loser. Like he knows nothing. So my first time boarding a plane was like, it was a Southwest, and it was just like, it literally looked like a fucking bus. Like there were just two sides, like 1, 2. It was nothing like what I thought it was gonna be.
Like you see in movies. and
Yeah,
stuff.
like 4 different aisles,
yeah,
and
sections. And
yeah,
stuff.
and I was like, oh, where's that plane? Or, okay, it's because this isn't first class. Like, maybe it's, like, bigger. I'm like, no, but this plane is, like, wait, what the heck? What's going on? And then they told me, like, no, dude, what you're thinking of are, like, the bigger,
Yeah, the intercontinental.
yeah,
Yeah,
the bigger planes and stuff. And I was like,
the jumbos. Yeah.
oh, okay. Like, where do they keep those? Like, how do you board those? So my question for you, Anthony, is like, you're doing first class. Where, like, what kind of plane are you boarding? Like,
So that's a good question. So I've had just a variety of all of them. I've been on the Intercontinental when I went to New Zealand. That was pretty nice, and it's basically like you have three seats on one side, 4 in the middle, and then 3 on the other side, and they're broken up into different classes. And like the very beginning of the front of the plane, you have this little cubicle. Yeah. With like a recliner, and you have your own little like TV. You have your own little, has even a curtain that you can like draw so nobody bothers you. Like, that's pretty cool. But those tickets are pretty pricey. We're talking like $5,000 a pop. You know, they're not cheap. But then I've also been on the small plane. So like going to I actually flew into Fargo, North Dakota, and then I had to drive to Grand Forks. Mm-hmm. And that plane was a tiny plane. It only had 2 on each side, so 2 seats on each side. Small plane. Yeah. So I've been through all of them, and I can tell you this: I already know like Southwest, like where I want to sit if I'm traveling alone. I can like, okay, the exit row on road, I think it's like 21 is a 2-seat, and then there's the exit door. So there's nobody next to you. So I'll board first, and I just automatically jet to that to the middle of the plane, and it's pretty funny because usually the flight attendants are there because they have a little more space. Mm-hmm. They can kind of stand while people are sitting down. That's
funny because like people usually like to board first so they could be like in the first couple of rows, so they're in and out. Like,
Well, I carry my bag with me. I carry my backpack, so I just stick that under the seat. So I got it, handy. I just grab it and go. But that particular seat is the only row in the whole plane that has only 2 seats. So at least I have some room to the side of me. So I already have like each plane. I already know where I already have
your little tricks.
Yeah, exactly. And stuff. I already know that the seat numbers, like more or less, like the first 15 rows have a plug-in for your phone.
Okay.
So if you're traveling, you want to get in the first 15 rows because you get a plug-in.
Right.
Yeah. So little tricks like that. The airports, for example, too. I know where all the gates are, what shuttle you have to take, and so it's gotten to the point now where I'll get off the plane and like you'll see all these confused people like, where do I go? And I'm like, oh, follow me. You got to take the tram or the shuttle. Come with me. I'm going to Terminal B. And so I've become kind of like a little guide. Sometimes when I get off, just kind of helping people because it's crazy, man. Especially like Houston, the airport, Orlando airport. They're pretty big and they're a little confusing on where you have to go.
This guy's definitely a U.S. Marshal.
Yeah, well, you can definitely tell. I've been around a few times, and even like the flight attendants here in El Paso, they kind of recognize me now because I'm there every Monday. So it's
Susie. How's it going, Susie?
They're like, where are you flying to now?
Hey, Samantha, is Jimmy doing good in T-ball?
First name basis.
Yeah, right.
No, it's I always been an optimistic person, so I just kind of look on the bright side of stuff, and it is nice that I get to get upgraded every once in a while, so that definitely helps.
So does Southwest have like the bigger planes?
No, so Southwest pretty much they have one standard plane, so
it's like, what is it, 737 or something?
Yeah, so that's their basic plane, and that's pretty much because they're open seating and the way they board and everything. It's every seat's the same.
Yeah, they're for the common man.
Yeah, exactly, and honestly, I've had a few issues with Southwest.
Really?
They've lost my luggage, canceled flights out of nowhere, and then get stranded. I had to get stranded in Houston for a night. I don't like flying Southwest, and the only reason too is like you have to be there because it's first come first serve as far as seating. So you have to get there early or you're gonna get a shitty seat.
You have to do your check-in like 24 hours in advance.
Right.
Like,
where United is more of assigned seating, so you can kind of pick and choose. If you're early enough, you can look on the seat, little seat thing, and you can actually see what seats are open and you can move.
You're like, do you know who I am?
Yeah. Yeah. So I definitely prefer you flying United over your Southwest.
United.
But there's some places that, especially here in El Paso, I think Southwest is the biggest airline for El Paso. So there's a lot of flights that aren't direct flights that you have to transfer planes to. And most of the time it's through Southwest. And I prefer United. It's more, it feels more classy. Feels more
nice.
Yeah, it feels a little more
fucking all bougie and everything. You're like,
that's what I said. Now you gotta enjoy it, man. I mean, I'm away from my family for a week, which kind of sucks, but I get to see him every Saturday and Sunday, and the work itself is by far like nothing compared to what I was doing before. So like most of the time I'm standing. That's the hardest thing, is just standing on my feet all day. I rarely get dirty. I'm not lifting anything heavy. In a warehouse that's air conditioned, so it's pretty nice, but it does suck being away from Lucas and Amber every week. Monday say bye, and then Friday get back late. So it's been pretty hectic. But
that's what I was gonna ask you, because when you were working at your other job, you, despite the fact that you would come home every single day, you were coming at very late hours. So it's kind of like, well, I'm getting home super late, and then I'm waking up super early. So it's kind of like you're not there either. And you're working like 6 days a week. Right?
Yep. Yeah, rather than like before I was working 7 or 6 days a week before, so it was, Sunday was my only time really home. But no, I just kind of look at it more of like just the toll it takes on your body. Like I saw a lot of the older mechanics have been there a long time, and man, and I started to feel it. You get these hand cramps. Like I get bad hand cramps. You're constantly using your hands on screw stuff. Yeah, exactly. And your knees, your back. You're out in the elements, so this is definitely a lot easier on my body, I feel.
Well, like one thing I would notice with you is that on Sundays when we would watch football, like we're all like drinking some beers, you would wake up super early to smoke a fucking cow and shit.
Brisket,
but then it would be like second quarter, third quarter, Cowboys were getting blown out, and then like you're a diehard fan, and you're like going in and out. You're like sometimes, not all the times, but like if the game was, if it wasn't as exciting, you were like dead fucking tired. You're like a zombie. You would be like, your beer's like spilling over, and it's like, oh, poor Ant, man. Like,
you know what's funny about that is I used to see my grandpa do that all the time. He'd get home from work, and he'd pop on Tom Brokaw and fucking watching CNN. I think
the nightly news.
Yeah, nightly news. Yeah, so and he'd be dozing off. And it's just like, man, like how like. My thinking is like, you're home, like you can actually do what you want to do. Like you'd think you'd be a little more awake, but it's almost one of those things. Like the minute you get a chance, your body sit down for a little bit, your body just shuts down. It's like, no, it's nap time.
But it's crazy because it also works like during the work week. Let's say like I go into work 8:30, 9 o'clock. Sometimes I kind of like make my own schedule. But like,
look at you.
I'll wake up like, oh shit, it's 8 o'clock. Like. And then fucking like do a quick shower, and then like get ready and then head out. And then on the weekends, I'm like fucking 6 a.m. I'm like, yo, what do I do? And I'm like, why am I waking up so early? Like I wanted to sleep in. Like during the week, I can't sleep in because I have to work. And then on the weekends, I'm like up bright and early. It's almost like my body's saying like, look, bro, you're not going to work. So you're going to make the best of this day. Like you're going to, rather than having a 14-hour day, you're going to have a 20-hour day. Like wake up early. You're going to like be up.
Yeah, but I think a part of that is excitement, because you're like, I'm off. You know what I mean? Like, I'm off. I get to do something, and that does on the weekends for sure. I kind of feel that too. It always seems easier to wake up on the weekends than it does during the week, which has always been kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, it's like I said, for me, it was just in the long run, just kind of trying to, pace myself, my body and stuff. I just don't definitely want to be, in my 50s having to fucking use a walker or something, So,
breaking your back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, you got to take the good with the bad. And I always try to look on the bright side. The cool thing is, like I was telling you earlier, I went to Grand Forks, and I got to see North Dakota State, which was pretty cool. Drive around it a little bit. It's kind of cool seeing the college campus there, and same with Ohio State. I was there for a little bit. The place I was working at was kind of close by, so just driving by there, it's kind of nice seeing the stadium and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's it's been cool. Canton, Ohio was like a 20-minute drive from where I was at, and I wanted to so bad. I was like, if I get some extra time, I'm going to the fucking Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame,
yeah, and check it out. But I didn't get a chance to, so that kind of sucked. But
okay, so Canton, Ohio, they have the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but then Cleveland has the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as well, right? So I mean, I don't know anything about Ohio. I mean, my favorite baseball team's from Cleveland, but like, how far is Canton from Cleveland?
Canton was only like I think 20-minute drive north.
Okay.
Yeah, so it wasn't too far. My boss was gonna fly me out on Sunday, which at first I was like, oh well, then if I fly out on Sunday, maybe I'll be able to get there and go check it out. But then I didn't realize Sunday was Mother's Day, and so then I text him. I'm like, hey dude, Sunday's Mother's Day, and he's like, oh fuck, you're right. He's like, I'll switch your flight for Monday. So,
oh, you're right. My mom died. Yeah. I no longer celebrate that.
He forgot himself, so it was a reminder to him too. So shout out to my boss. But yeah, then see, that's the cool thing. You know, I love my boss. You know, I really do. Like, I have such a high respect and admiration for the guy, and so it makes working for him a lot easier. And he's a cool dude. Like I said, like there'll be times where, you know, hey man, I need a little break. You know, and he'll work with me. So that's cool. You know, he's never been demeaning or anything like that.
Like, yeah. So your lunches are now from 45 minutes to an hour. Is that good?
Oh, dude, I got a story for you. So first week in Ohio, right? First day, I'm sorry. Mikey went with me.
Yeah.
And so we go to KFC because we're fucking dying of hunger, right? So we look up the nearest. That's my friend right there. Google nearest food or food near me. You know. Yeah. And so it was like, there's a KFC around the corner. And so I was like, all right, cool, let's go hit up KFC. I haven't been to KFC in a while. So fucking walk in, and there's 3 people there, right? Now, one dude was, I'd say probably maybe in his 40s, a little heavier set guy, but he was standing right in front of me. And then at the counter, there was these two ladies. Now, one of the ladies was maybe in her 50s, older lady, small. She was probably maybe like, I don't know, like 5'5" or something, 100 pounds, real skinny lady.
Right.
And then the lady that was next to her was definitely younger, probably in her 20s, but she had a shaved head, like completely bald. And at first I thought it was a dude because she was wearing a heavy jacket and it's like baggy pants. But when she turned around, I was like, okay, that's definitely a girl.
It's definitely a feminine face.
A feminine face, exactly. And so she kept turning around and looking at the guy that was in front of me in line. And the guy was kind of getting irritated about it. And he's like, what the fuck are you looking at? You know, why do you keep looking at me? And
he told her?
Yeah, he straight up told her that. And so that lady was waiting for a refill, and she was like pissed off with the workers there. Now the other lady, the smaller lady, she was also there, upset because they messed up her order supposedly, and so she was waiting for some coleslaw, and she was just kept on and on and on about how you guys forgot my coleslaw and this and that. She just kept egging it on, right? And so me and Mike are starving, we're waiting for food, and we're just like, come on, hurry up and get the hell out of the way, you know? And those 2 ladies start arguing, right? And so the one lady's telling her, oh, you just wanted some free food. And she's like, no, they fucked up my order and this and that. And they started getting into it. And finally, the guy that was in front of us was just like, you know, just get your shit, get the fuck out of here, you know? Like, just pissed off, you know? And so finally, they give her food. They fill up the other girl's refill. That girl starts to leave. The older lady's starting to walk out, mosey out. And then she just kept on. Thank you, but, you know, I just want to let you guys know you messed up my order. I wasn't trying to get anything for free. And the workers there are just like, okay. Like, it doesn't matter. We already gave you your food.
Yeah.
Go. And she's like, well, I don't want you guys to think that I'm just trying to take advantage of. And by this time, the guy snaps. Like, he literally turns around and is like, shut the F up and get the fuck out of here. You got your shit. Now leave. And the lady was carrying a bat, a small bat, mind you. It was a little tiny bat.
Like a souvenir bat.
Yeah, something like a souvenir bat. And it was black, right? And so at first she's kind of holding it, and I kind of saw her, but I'm like, she's a smaller lady. She looks like she might be homeless.
Fucking way.
I'm like, you know, I didn't really think anything of it.
Don't tell me.
So the guy's like, get the fuck out of here. And she looks at him. She turns around. She's at the door getting ready to open the door, and she grabs the bat in one hand. And at this point, I kind of look over because the look in the guy's eye kind of, you know, went bigger. And then he's like, what the fuck are you going to do with that besides piss me off? And at that point, I'm like, oh, shit, what does she have, you know? So I turn around, and she's unscrewing the top of the bat, the bottom of it. And there's a fucking sword inside the bat.
Oh,
so she's getting ready to fucking pull the handle out. And I look over, and I kind of like, Mike wasn't paying attention, really. He was kind of looking at the menu, and I kind of grab him and nudge him out of the way. I'm like, yo, you know, what the fuck?
Yo, let's go to fucking Subway, dog.
And so the guy starts walking up to her. Then finally, the workers like all run out because they hear what's going on, and they're like, "Oh shit!" And one of the cooks like comes out, and he's like, "Hey, yo, dude, you know, cool down." And she's like, you know, she's like, try me, and he's like, I'm gonna take that sword and yeah, use it on you, you know, basically, you know. Yeah.
Oh snap!
And so finally, she walks out the door and takes off, and the guy was like. the cook is like, hey man, thank you for, you know, getting her out of here or whatever. And he's like, I just can't believe this shit. He was all pissed off. And then he's like, what do you want, man? Let me get you your order. And he's like, I don't even fucking know now. I'm so fucking pissed off. I don't even fucking know. And he's just getting ready to walk out himself. And then the cook's like, no, man, here, I'll get you some wings and a biscuit, right? So
it's like, fuck, I thought this was Burger King.
Dude, I was just like, my first impressions of Cleveland, I'm like, holy fuck, like, where are we, you know? Because we got in late, you know, and so it was the first experience of Cleveland was not a good experience, you know. I thought I was gonna watch somebody get, you know, fucking their hand cut off or something, you know. I was like, what the f? And I told Mike, I was like, we should have went to Taco Bell, man. Of course, KFC had this fucking problem.
Fuck, dude.
But yeah, it was pretty intense, man, to say the least. We just walked into like the perfect moment where that shit was just about to go off, and it was pretty crazy, man.
Oh hell no.
So yeah, so that's like the crazy shit I get to see. Yeah,
that's fucking wild. A sword,
a
fucking
inside
sword.
a bat, bro. That was the first thing I've never seen anything like that.
That's fucking wild, dude.
But yeah, I mean,
I trip out when I see people with like pepper spray on like their fucking
their
little.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh damn, they're prepared. But a fucking sword, like you never know when you're gonna fillet someone and shit.
I told Mike, welcome to Cleveland. Yeah.
That's fucking wild.
I told the workers there, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, it's because we're on the bad side of town over here." And I'm like, "Ah, okay. Hopefully, all of Cleveland's not like this."
Hey, man, fucking, I'll take a sword over a fucking gun any day.
Yeah,
like fuck, like
medieval time. She's about to go medieval on his ass. Yeah,
that is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was nuts. I literally, when I saw that shit come out, I was like, "Oh fuck," you know, it's on, you know.
Dude, you should start writing like a little book or like take some notes like of everything you've like observed and just seen around the country, and just like start like documenting everything. Like, yo, dude, if you're ever in Cleveland, you never want to visit a KFC.
Yeah,
because fucking
especially that one.
KFCs get wild in Cleveland. Like fucking people are pulling out swords and trying to get free food left and right.
Yeah, it was over some coleslaw. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
Fucking
coleslaw ain't even that good. You know what I mean?
Fuck
like,
no. That's
if it was a wing or something. Like, all right,
dude. That's the side. Coleslaw is the side that nobody wants that they give you.
It's the like, side that you think you're eating healthy because it's got some.
It's got like a fuck ton of like mayo and shit, and it's not even like creamy mayo. It's like watered down mayo.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever ordered fucking coleslaw from there.
Yeah,
it's always mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, man.
Fucking yeah, like I don't know, man. Fucking dang, dude. Coleslaw. Like, who the fuck orders coleslaw?
I don't know.
Like, dude, KFC, you got your mac and cheese, you got your mashed potatoes, some gravy, biscuits, but coleslaw. Like, if you're gonna pull out a sword, it's gonna be for the chicken or the fucking mac and cheese, but the coleslaw. Yeah. Coleslaw. Wow.
Yeah. Go figure, man.
Fucking Cleveland.
Now they did tell me they have had to deal with that lady multiple times, and every time it's been an issue. So I got the feeling she's probably homeless, and so that's probably why she was fighting about the coleslaw. But yeah, man, it was definitely interesting. Dude, it was definitely in a rough neighborhood. That's for sure.
Maybe if she would sell her fucking sword bat, like she should go to like the antique roadshow or whatever, and see like how much, or pawn shops, and like see how much she could get for a fucking a sword that comes out of a baseball bat.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy, dude. I thought it was just a bat until she fucking did the end of it, and I just saw this blade coming out, and I'm like, holy fuck, what the fuck?
Have you ever heard of a cork bat? Yeah. Oh, but I got a sword bat.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
dude.
it was pretty crazy, man. I'm glad Mike was there though too, because it was.
You're like, I'm glad Mike was able to witness it, because if I told this story, nobody was going to believe it.
Yeah, that's for sure. I told the guys there that I was, you know, at the facility that I was at, and they were just cracking up. They're like, "Yep, that's Cleveland for you," it's like, especially around this neighborhood. So, yeah, that was definitely interesting. The rest of the week went smooth though, but that was definitely the one that was like, "What the fuck." And I was like, fucking Mondays, man. Fucking Mondays, bro.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares for Mondays.
Yeah.
All right. So, damn. How do you top that one?
I don't know. I just thought I'd share it. You know?
Fucking.
It was fresh in my mind.
All right. So, Anthony, one thing I wanted to run by you was I have a little bit of a problem going on, and hopefully you could guide me through this.
What's up?
So, like, I don't know what I'm going through right now. I don't know if it's an episode of midlife crisis. Hopefully it's not a midlife crisis, because if it is, that means I'm gonna die pretty young. But dude, I am over. Not okay. I haven't entirely overspent, but like I'm spending money on shit that I don't need, and
I have that problem.
so like yeah, like
I can help you.
okay, so like I had these headphones, and literally they're okay. They're earbuds. They're okay. They got the active noise cancellation. La da 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 da. Right. And then I thought I lost them, so then I went back to the store, and I was like, well, I need some headphones, but I'm gonna get a cheaper version, the lowest of the noise cancellation, and then get those. So then fucking bought those, right? Fast forward, fucking I lose the headphones. I mean, I find the old headphones that I had that were a little bit higher quality. I'm like, hell yeah, this is dope. Like, so I went back to my earbuds, and I'm like, just like they were my go-tos. Well, then I lose them again.
Shut up.
I have no clue where I left them, and it's already been like 3 weeks. So I'm like, okay, I had to go back to my downgraded version, and they get the job done. Whatever, they're like small little earbuds, but I know I'm missing out on in terms of quality, sound, and just like the transparency mode, the noise cancellation mode, all this shit, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like the other ones, they're long gone. They were already like 2-3 years old, whatever. So I was like, I need to upgrade. Boom. From that moment, I've just gone into the fucking tech world. Like I started opening up like these YouTube channels, and then just first it was just like, oh, like I need new earbuds. And then I start seeing like what they offer. Oh, should I get the AirPod Pro, or oh, should I get the Sony quién sabe qué, or oh, can I get the Beats so and so, or the Soundcore la da 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 da.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So then I was like, yo, this is cool, man. Like, and then they start like feeding you shit that like you don't even think about, like you don't even need. Like, I'm not a music producer, but then it's like, oh, these Soundcore Liberty Pros, 3 Liberty Pros, like 20 Grammy producers recommend these, and it's like, oh, dude, well, if these guys they won a Grammy, like if they think they're good, like I should get them. So like, dude, long story short, I end up buying like these earbuds. They're gonna come in tomorrow.
Nice.
And I thought it was gonna end there.
Uh-oh.
I'm at work. I'm editing some stuff, and then I'm like, dude, I was sending an email, and then I was like, I was editing some stuff, but then I jumped over to my MacBook, and it's a little outdated. It's about 2014, 2015 MacBook. Like a MacBook Air or whatever.
Okay.
It's nice, but it's kind of slow. And I was like, dude, I need a new laptop or MacBook. So then I go down this rabbit hole, and I just start like looking up these guys again. They're like, dude, the computers you should get, the MacBooks you shouldn't get, la da 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 da, whatever. Before I know it, I go onto the store, like the MacBook store, and then it's like, oh, this MacBook that I want, oh, you can get it as is, but you're going to want to upgrade to getting this as well. Oh, and then if you're going to get that, you want to make sure that you get this too, because there's no point of getting a MacBook so-and-so if you don't add this onto it, because then it's kind of like, what is the word, like obsolete?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. So then before I know it, the MacBook that I thought it was only going to be this much is now like 2,500 or whatever. And then I'm like, well, I guess I can do it. Like, and then I'm like, oh shit, like what am I doing, dude? Like, so that's how my last week has been. Just like diving into the tech world, just like looking at shit that I don't need, but I want to get. And why am I doing this? Like, explain that to me.
I mean, I think it's once you kind of dabble into that. I mean, shit. You know me, man. I'm always kind of on top of that shit. I don't know. I think it's kind of like once you open the door, it's kind of like that Pandora's box. Like once you get in there, you're like, damn, there's so much cool shit that you don't need. But
but they're recommending stuff. They're like, oh, if you're gonna be doing this and doing that, and it's like, I've never done that in my life, so why would I need that? And then, but I'm like, but I don't want that shitty one, because then people are gonna be like, oh, you got that shitty one? You know that guy's not a serious fucking gamer. I'm not even a gamer, but it's like, oh, if you buy that one, or you know that guy's not a video editor, or if you like, so then I'm like, and it kind of like, because these YouTubers, they kind of like, they don't shit on the people that, like, okay, I was kind of like, oh, I could get this computer, right? And then they were like, oh, but if you get that computer, that means like you're not serious in what you want to do with it in this sense.
Salesman.
But they're like, and I know some of these YouTubers, they have like paid promotions on their videos and stuff. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, dang, dude, like, I shouldn't be buying this stuff. Like, why am I doing it? Like, why?
I don't know, man. I ask myself that too. Like the video board we got, you know, it's pretty top of the line, pretty expensive. Don't use it quite as much as probably it was worth buying, but it just like it opens the doors to possibilities of stuff that maybe you didn't like anything, right? I mean, anything you kind of get into, you might not expect that you're like gonna get into something else. It's always like a stepping stone into something else, you know. I don't know. I feel like in this time of age, just all the technology that's out there, it kind of feels like you're left behind if you don't kind of go along with it, you know, or at least experience it, you know.
I kind of feel like there's no turning back.
Yeah.
Like the more things you're introduced to, you feel like you're going to be late to the party or you're going to be left out. Kind of goes with like the phones that we have.
Yep.
You know, there's so much, like I have the 13 whatever and the iPhone 13, and it's great. It works great. But then there's a part of me that's like, dang, am I missing out what the 14 has? And it's like, I'm not. In reality, I'm not, because I'm never going to use any of the settings, the new updated settings that they've installed or whatever.
Right.
But I feel like, oh, like I am, like, you know, like.
Yeah, you kind of are, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like I feel like at least too, for me, it's always been a learning thing. You know what I mean? So like I've always wanted to get into something and then kind of figure it out and then you know, decide from there if it's something that I can use or utilize for something else or you know, it's just not worth it. But I've always thought of it as a learning thing. You know what I mean? Like just trying to figure out how shit works. You know?
Yeah.
But I think that's partly my mentality too. Just my job. You know, my occupation and everything. I've been kind of wired that way. Just how does this fucking work? You know, like the video we were just watching about
the Starlight.
The Starlight. Yeah.
So like
right away, my brain's like, okay, well they're probably using multiple camera angles.
So what was it? It was Google Project Starlight.
Project Starlight. Yep.
Yeah, Project Starlight. Dude, that thing is fucking crazy. Like
it is.
When I saw that video, that what's his name, Marcus Brownlee or whatever. Yeah. He's a YouTuber. He's like this tech guy. He's pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
So that Starlight is actually like super cool because you could be having a conversation with somebody in front of you, but just think of it as a Zoom call, but like
3D,
like 3D hologram looking, real life appearing, conversation happening in front of you. It's like 3D looking like. It's crazy. It looks like a real person in front of you. I remember so back in the day we had standard definition TVs. The very first time I saw HD, I was like, I was watching like the Chicago Bears versus like the Lions or something, and I thought it was
in the store.
And I thought it was no. We went to somebody's house. I can't remember whose house we went to. And they had an HD TV, like the very first time I saw one, and I was like, holy fuck. Like, this is like, I thought that it looked almost like real life people moving on a screen in front of me. Like, it was so clear. Like, and I know people, if you're listening and you're like, dude, what the fuck, HD? Dude, like, but if you go back to standard definition, like, that's all you know. Your life, all you know is black and white TV, standard definition, and then without even a fucking warning, you step into a room and then boom, you see this HD freaking, what was it back in, like, was it plasma or LCD or whatever?
Shit, I think that was before that even.
Like, you step into a room and you see this TV and then it's like so crystal clear. You're like your brain was like processing the information, like what is going on? Like this is just in awe. This is so foreign to me. And
it's almost like getting glasses. You know what I mean? Like your vision isn't so good, you get glasses and it's like, holy crap, how like, I didn't realize how bad we were watching before.
Yeah, like, oh, this is what I was missing out. Like, yeah, and like it was I thought they would not I thought, but like it looked like people were moving around on the screen like little people, and it was so clear to me, and I was like, this is amazing. And now it's like, it's not like a big deal. Same thing happened to me a couple of years ago when I first saw, well, not 4K, it was like, well, what is it like the Ultra HD?
Ultra HD,
yeah, it's like one, when I saw like 4K. I think I was watching what's that movie? The Quentin Tarantino movie, the one where no. Oh, I can't think of it. Django.
Django, okay.
So I was watching that movie. I saw it in theaters, and theaters, like, it's not the most crystal clear like projection going up on the screen, but it's a great experience, right? Like watching a movie in the theaters. But then I saw Django on like at the house on this like Ultra HD whatever 4K, I don't know what it is, and it was like I can see they were on a set. It was so clear that I was like, it kind of took away from the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this is fake. Like, I can see it's too good.
Yeah, well, that reminds me of this little skit in Family Guy where they first get a HD TV, or maybe it's like 4K TV or something, and the first thing they're watching is the news, and it's the two news anchors, and they like show them. And literally, like, because it's so much clearer, you can see all the wrinkles and like imperfections in their skin, and they were like, "Oh my god, like what is wrong with them?" You know? And then like during the show, like the ratings start dropping, and so they end up pulling one of the news anchors out and putting somebody younger in there. It was hilarious, but it's just like that, you know. It's like, wow. A good example is like NFL when they went to the end zone cameras, that angle. Like I remember when we first watched it, we were like, "Holy crap, that looks like a video game!"
Like the depth, like
it's awesome.
It was so cool when
just in awe. Like
sometimes they would use it for like huddles and stuff, or they would use it for like the end zone, and
and it was immediately like, I went to like, what camera are they using? What equipment are they using?
I was like, oh, what was it? Was it like a DSLR?
Yeah, they're using DSLR. Sony actually.
And I was like, dude, this shit is crazy. Like, it brings another aspect to like the football watching experience. It was like, oh, this is so cool. But what I was gonna tell you was like, so those were like the minor progressions that we've gone through, and then we kind of dabbled with like 3D, and like 3D TVs. And honestly, I didn't like them. They kind of like gave me a headache. I always felt cross-eyed when I would like watch, even like going to the movies and watching a 3D movie. I hated it. Like, I always felt like I was like, my eyes were like looking.
It never really felt 3D. It was almost like the subject of this camera kind of came out to you, but everything else seemed flat.
It just seemed like lesser quality. Yeah. Like, it was just like, kind of like what you said like earlier when we saw that Starlight, where like, Wait, Project Starlight, you're like, oh, well, it's barely first gen. Yeah. But it's still amazing. And I'm like, dude, so fast forward to like this Starlight, like what is the possibility, like what is it gonna be used for?
Virtual.
And like how like but see that's not virtual.
No, but I'm saying like,
see, that's not
this is a stepping stone into like having a hologram come up of somebody that you can actually fucking interact. Like, this is where it's going.
Yeah.
Give it like 10 years or so, and they'll have some kind of fucking hologram shit.
So what do you think? Okay, so that Project Starlight is pretty cool, like just seeing it on the screen. Obviously, we haven't seen it in person.
Right.
And for like the tech guys to be like pretty amazed with it, it's saying something. So what do you think is gonna be the first one that is gonna be like for the average consumer? Is it gonna be VR? Like, and I'm talking about like a real good VR experience, not like right now we're kind of like you say, that first gen generation, like we're like, okay, this is the new thing. Is it gonna be like the Meta? Is it gonna be the Starlight, Project Starlight, but maybe not just for one person to enjoy, maybe like a whole room, or is it gonna be like these holograms, or is it gonna, like, what do you think? Like, it's kind of wild, man.
I mean, honestly, I think VR, because it's so much further along. They've already come out with like Generation 2, especially talking about Meta and stuff. And honestly, a lot of it has to do with price. It all comes down to price. Whatever the price point is for average consumers, that's going to be what drives everything. But Metaverse is pretty interesting in the fact that it is kind of what you're talking about. It's almost like you can be in a room full of your friends. Obviously, your avatars, you're not your actual person.
But what do you think is going to be used? Okay, like
that's used pretty often right now.
Going back to like earbuds, right?
Yeah.
Phone, earbuds, those are things that you can take on the go. Because at this moment, yes, there are people that work from home. There are people that are homebodies. There are people that prefer to stay in. Mm-hmm. But there's a large majority that are still going out. So what is the thing to you that is going to be like, that is going to be taken like a phone? Is it going to be VR?
Yeah.
Is it going to be some kind of sunglasses? You're going to start seeing people with like these VR sunglasses looking things to experience the world. Like, so they'll be able to see reality as well as like VR things going on.
I think so. The VR goggles and stuff have slowly become thinner, smaller, more affordable. Especially like the Meta one. I mean, I think it's like $300, something like that, and it's portable. I mean, you can take it with you on a plane, wherever. But eventually, it'll get down to where it's a sunglass or something where you can use. What scares me is more so like the hacking element to a lot of this stuff, right? Because like right now, you have your headphones, right? Somebody could hack into your headphones and hear the conversation you're having wherever you're at. Your watch tells you your position, your heart rate, all of that stuff. And then now we're talking about vision. So if they incorporate something like a glasses, now they can actually see, hear, and know where you're. So that kind of gets where I get a little scared. Because,
so that's kind of the thing, right? Well, I mean,
are we cyborgs now at this point?
Well, not yet. I think until that, people have talked about like installing a chip in like your head or your wrist or your arm or your leg, whatever it may be, right?
Neuralink,
like that's when it's gonna get like, oh shit, because like earbuds, you could get rid of them. Phone, you can always leave it,
right?
Freaking these VR sunglasses, whatever, you could get rid of them. But once something is installed like into your body, screwed. It's like
you're gonna have a tin hat on to block the signals.
Like what are you gonna do when like that's kind of creepy right there. But yeah, I think like the next thing that's gonna come is gonna have to be something portable. It's like the earbuds. Like, have you ever seen that movie Her?
Her, yes.
So that guy, he like buys this Siri thing and he puts his earbuds in, and basically she runs his whole life. Like, he can filter through emails, and that's kind of like where we're at right now.
Yeah.
And that movie came out like 10 years ago. Yeah. So that obviously has taken place. And you see people, like, you go to the store, how many people have earbuds in their ears?
Oh yeah, everybody.
Everyone. Yeah. Like, phones, everyone's got a phone.
Yeah, it's crazy. You go to the airport and like literally no one's looking up. Everyone's like,
Yeah,
they're just buried in their phone. You know?
exactly. So those are things that are portable. So the next thing that is gonna take over, I feel, has to be portable.
Yeah.
It has to be something that we can take with us, because in the end, we're still social people that need to, like, the pandemic proved it. Like, there was a time when people were like, oh, this is cool, staying home is great. But then there was that hankering to get out.
Yeah.
And
yeah, well, it's just anytime you're tied down, I think everybody feels like they need to get out.
And it doesn't matter, like, what kind of technology that they're going to bring to the table. It doesn't matter how much, like, because they've tried to, like, this is going to bring us closer. This is going to bring us closer, like Zoom calls, FaceTimes, video chats, whatever. But it has, like, they've done studies where it's kind of made us feel like that's part of the reason people have anxiety, like the mental issues that they're going through, and
which
stuff
is
like
weird
that.
to me. I've always wondered that, and just my take on it. It's like I would feel like the more, I guess it's more glamified on like social media, and so that's why everybody kind of feels inadequate, you know, with their situation. Because you hop on there and you see somebody, oh, I got a brand new car, or, oh, I'm taking a trip here, you know, and it kind of makes you feel like, well, why am I not doing that stuff?
Yeah.
But on the other token, it's kind of like I would feel like the more separate you are, the more comfortable you would be in your own environment, your own house, your own, you know, family, rather than trying to compare yourself to people that you don't see every day. You know what I mean? Like Facebook's a perfect example of that. Like how many friends you have on there that you really interact with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But you see their posts and you kind of see what, you know, their life is, or what, you know, their achievements, stuff like that, you know. I don't know. I guess it's strange times we're living in, man. That's for sure. That ties into a lot of stuff, that like the Bud Light thing. I don't know if you've heard about that.
Yeah, I actually wanted to bring this up.
Yeah.
Like, we weren't recording when it was at the height of like the whole Bud Light thing and people calling it out, and I'm like, oh my god, like, but it's like that is the age that we live in, like the influence that you know
one person can have.
Yeah,
an
and then
company.
Well, like one person comes out and has, you know, and then like everyone reacts to it, and then the influence of the reaction. So it's the influence that. Okay, so Bud Light. Run us through the whole Bud Light, Anthony.
Yeah, so I guess the Bud Light thing is kind of interesting. I mean, you know me, I'm a big Bud Light drinker. But
don't tell me you moved away.
Don't open the fridge.
Oh, what?
So
there we go. Perfect example. Influence. Okay, go.
I mean, but that's where I feel like, at least if, to me, people can vote with their paycheck, you know, and vote with their money, you know, and this is a perfect example of that. You know, people putting the hands back into putting the control back into their hands rather than just going along with some company and their values. But basically, essentially, the thing was that their intentions were to basically branch out to a different variety of people, right? And so they partnered with a transgender influencer. And the funny thing is they didn't even like do a promotion, really. It wasn't a commercial. It was just something that they gave her a can with her image on it, and she posted it, and it just caught like wildfire. You know, people were just outraged at the fact that their beer was going into a more of a political view on things. And I think, for me,
I don't even think that it was going into a political, like, I think they were honestly, I think it's because that whole marketing scheme is it's not so much political. It's like, okay, where's our next group of people? Like, how can we?
It's such a minute. It's such a minute population.
That's another.
Population
Okay,
of people.
I'm glad you're bringing that up too, because that's another category to jump into.
Yeah.
So
it's like there's so many other minority categories.
There's so many businesses, so many politicians that try to jump into satisfying a very small group, not even a percentage point.
Yeah, it's
and it's like, why are you tending? Like, I was having this conversation with Yadi the other day. Why do politicians try to satisfy a group of people that are tens of hundreds in a country of 400 million or 400 million?
Yeah.
No, just the country.
Yeah.
Like Like, what are we at? What's our population? Like 400 million,
Something
500
like that,
million,
yeah.
something like that? Maybe it's more. Maybe it's 600 million. I don't know.
Something.
But my point is,
A lot more.
yeah, my point is, like, why are you trying to satisfy a group that is tens of hundreds of people, possibly thousands, over a large majority of people? Like,
That's my issue with
that is, and it's both sides. It's I like, without getting into too much politics, it's both sides. Like, they are extreme on this side, they are extreme on this side, and that's one of the reasons why we end up with politicians that are kind of just like in the end, the middle is where the majority are.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why every 4 years it's a competitive race. Like, you're gonna have Democrats that are middle and Republicans that are middle. That's where the majority of the people stand.
Yeah, 80%.
And that's why, like, freaking, we went from, let's say, Ronald Reagan to George Bush to Bill Clinton to George Bush to Barack Obama to Donald Trump to Joe Biden.
Yeah.
It always it's gonna go Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican, because the majority of the people are in the middle. It's not the extremes that we hear on the right. It's not the extremes that we hear on the left. Like, people don't live there, dude. Like, that's not reality. That's not reality. But let's go back to the Bud Light thing. Like, okay, so this person, they gave him a can or whatever, and then everyone just went up like, okay, like, they're the majority of them were like dissatisfied with the approach that Bud Light took, right? Or something like that. I mean,
it was, to me, it was kind of a joke though too, because this person in particular, they were doing it in March Madness, right? The time of March Madness, and it was kind of like I feel it was kind of like it was like a ploy, you know what I mean? Like,
just like any marketing,
but it's kind of like, why the mockery of it was this person didn't even know what March Madness was, and it was like, it has something to do with sports, you know? And it's just like,
you know what's funny though?
Why would you even?
But here's the funny thing. Like, okay, I've been a Bud Light drinker since I can remember. That's like what we were kind of brought up with, like Bud Light,
always in the fridge.
Yeah, always in the fridge. And I watch athletics, like I watch freaking like collegiate as well as professional, right? If it's football, basketball, baseball, like I'm always watching sports, some kind of sport. And I had no fucking clue what was going on. I didn't know what was going on. I was late to the party. Yeah. I had no clue what was going on. The way I heard about it was because I listened to a few podcasts, was through Bill Maher has a pretty funny podcast. Yeah. It's what is it? It's Club Random or some shit like that. It's pretty cool. And he was talking about it, like how Kid Rock was like, oh fuck Bud Light, and he like shot like guns at Bud Light or whatever. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on? Like, what's going on? And then like, but it like never came through my feed, or you know, like And I would still go to the store, buy Bud Light, like a 6-pack.
That's where I wonder too, like social media wise, like
and so I was thinking like people that really drink Bud Light, like my dad, is this ever gonna cross his path?
No,
never. No. He's gonna continue to buy Bud Light.
Yeah,
like, are they all of a sudden like putting freaking this transgender person in like the freaking corner stores, like a little box
cut out or, you know what I mean?
Like, no, they're not.
That extreme.
Like, so like I'm saying, like the ones that are in an uproar, the majority. I'm just saying majority. Maybe there were a few that were Bud Light drinkers that are no longer, but that's probably like a very small group. Like the majority of the people were people that didn't even drink Bud Light to begin with.
I don't know though. Their sales like plummeted, dude. So definitely people that were buying it are no longer buying it for sure. because they lost like 20% of their sales, and literally Miller Lite, no promotion, no nothing, 20% went up.
Okay, so
people switch.
But then I saw like another thing. So like I spend a lot of time on YouTube before I go to bed.
Well, but
and they were talking. They were talking
because
about
you're more conservative. If maybe your feed is not showing you the same stuff that somebody maybe a little more right would be, and where mine is literally like if I open YouTube right now, it is littered with that.
No, well, like so no. Well, like I do some stuff does pop up, but like I had no clue.
Yeah.
I could care less on like, dude, Bud Light still tastes like Bud Light.
Yeah.
You know, like.
I mean, it was like the greatest drink, anyways.
Yeah. And like, but it was something that you just went to. Like, it was there. Tradition. It was cold. Yeah, whatever. So it's funny because I was watching a little short came up on my YouTube feed, and it was like Joe Rogan and some guy were talking about how Miller Lights. It was around the same time that Miller Lite came out with a commercial talking about like how they were gonna step away with the
sexist,
chauvinistic, advertisements,
girls in
bikinis, and things like that. And it's like, what is going on? Like, and these two guys are talking, having a conversation, saying like, what is going on? Like, why are these beer, like companies taking a stand this way, that way, whatever way? And it's like, dude, like it's fucking beer, like. And then I just kind of thought like I don't know, it's not gonna affect my drinking experience, you know?
No, but I think a lot of people are just fed of that kind of stuff being forced down people's throats.
It's because I think like I feel companies are trying to satisfy, going back to like my little
it's trendy, dude. It's trendy. That's why all these companies have jumped on that.
It's kind of going back to my politics spiel. Like businesses now are trying to satisfy the freaking 0% of people, the 0.1% of people, and it's like, dude, like, who cares? Like, who cares? Like, why are you guys...
I think it plays into a lot of stuff, though, because a lot of people are fed up with, like, the whole sports thing. Transgenders in sports. There's transgenders in schools. The whole bathroom thing. Like, there's just so many things that it's just, like... There's so many other issues for a majority of the nation. But why are we...
But see, like, that's the thing. Like, people are focusing... Okay, just the same way they're putting so much energy in these things, right? Like that, or what you would label as
wokeness.
No. Like you would label as not important. Mm-hmm. You're like, why are they talking about this? Why are they bringing this up? Like, there's so many more important issues that they can talk about. But just the same way, like they're bringing these things up, you're giving the same attention to your counter to it. Like, well, I don't care, and you know what, just for bringing it up, I'm gonna go against it. And it's like, so it's like, it's kind of like that saying, like, two wrongs don't make a right. Two things, like, if they're bringing it up, it's like, one thing I've been in education, right? So there's the kid that misbehaves all the time. I used to be that kid back in the day. The counter to it was, well, what most people would think, non-professionals would be like, oh, well, I'm going to write this kid up, or I'm going to send him to detention, or I'm going to... But the real counter to it is ignoring it. Because it's like your little boy. Like, your little boy's great. But one thing I noticed, when you give the attention to something that doesn't need the attention, then that's when it becomes bigger. If you ignore it, it makes noise at the beginning, and then it just slowly goes away.
I don't know though.
It fizzles out.
I kind of disagree with that.
It hasn't gone away because people are giving it the attention, it doesn't.
But they're giving it attention in a negative light because, like I said, their sales continue to drop, and so the more we talk about it, the more their sales are dropping.
Yeah, but again, it's giving the attention. It's giving the attention. Like honestly, like you're bringing up the Bud Light thing, right? But I'm saying like just anything in general. If you give
absolutely
the stuff, like if you give the attention to things that you don't care about, like they're gonna fizzle out. They're gonna go away.
Yeah, but like you said, like you were kind of late to it, didn't hear about it, right? Like it's bringing light to you, maybe not seeing something that you would have even really had an opinion on or really cared about, but it's now because people are talking about it's shedding light on something that maybe you can kind of sit there and think back, well, do I really care about this? Do I not care about this?
Mm-hmm.
But
so like those people that jumped over from, let's say, drinking Bud Light to now Miller Lite, or from Bud Light to Coors Light, or like what are the reasons for that? And like maybe those other companies, they might have the same stance as this other brand,
right?
But they're just not voicing it. So you might think you're like, oh well, now I'm not giving them my business, but then you might be supporting something else. Like,
well, just like trendy stuff,
like,
right? People come out with, like the headphones. You see somebody with the latest headphones, you're like, it's the same kind of thing. Like I think I'm one of those people. I went and I bought Miller Lite, and then after the whole ad that Miller Lite came out, I'm just like, man, what the fuck, man? I'm just gonna start drinking Jack. Fuck beer.
Fuck this. I'm just gonna drink water. I'm just gonna drink water.
Because I don't know. I feel like,
but see, like
I feel like it gives people.
You're allowing these things to ruin your experience.
I mean, honestly, Bud Light, Miller Lite. I mean, I don't really drink it because of the taste. You know what I mean? Like,
I drink it because it's beer. And I like beer. Like
I agree with that. I think that too. But I think there's a little part of me that's like, you know what? That's something that I don't support. Like it's just like if Miller Lite said, F Mexicans, we're not, you know what I mean? Then that's when it's like.
So that's what I was gonna tell you this too. So this is looking from another angle, right? So back in the day when Trump was first running for president, a lot of people didn't like where he was coming from. Like, oh, he's a bigot, he's a racist, right? Then they found out what companies, like, because people have nothing better to do, right?
Yeah.
So they start researching what companies are endorsing Trump, right? And then they, like, I'm just going to give you one, like New Balance. They found out that New Balance was, like, I guess, supporting Trump, or they were like, they were kind of in favor, like the board, like the board members or the owners, the founders, whatever. I don't know. So people are like, oh, I'm not going to buy New Balance anymore. And then it's like, why? Like, dude, New Balance are a great shoe.
Yeah.
Like, they feel comfortable. They're great. And fucking, you leave yourself without that option now. Like, now you walk into a shoe store, it's like, oh, I don't want New Balance because they're Trump supporters. It's like, oh yes, like you wear New Balance, now you're a supporter of Trump. Like, no, dude.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what? Like, okay.
But that's the world we live in.
So no, but like, hold on. So now when you go into a Best Buy or a Walmart or whatever it may be, you're gonna be researching every single item that you're gonna purchase? No, it'd be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, dude. Like,
some people will, but it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Like, no, I want a good shoe. What's the best shoe I can buy? This one. What's the best type of food I can get? This. Like, I could care less who they. And like, there was a stand-up. You saw Chris Rock's stand-up, the latest one. So he brought it up. He made a great point talking about Lululemon pants, right? And then he was saying like, Lululemon pants, they're not racist or something. There's like a big old slogan or whatever that they had at their stores, like, we're not racist. And then he's like, they must hate someone because they're $100. And then he's like, they hate poor people.
Yeah.
They're racist towards poor people or some shit like that, right? And it's true. It's like, you ask everyone in this room, you want $20 racist pants or $100 non-racist pants. Like, people are gonna go with the $20 racist pants,
right.
and like, and it goes back to like the beer thing. Like, dude,
the beer's hard because they're all pretty competitive pricing, so it's not hard to swap.
Well, I mean, there's like Bud Light is, let's be honest, on the lower end in terms of. So you have like in terms of the basic beers.
Yeah, Coors, Miller, and Bud.
Coors, Miller, Bud. Yeah. Like those are the ones.
Michelob.
Like, are you a Coors Light guy? Are you a Bud Light guy? Are you a Miller Light guy? After that, then you could either go lower, like the Natural Lights, the Keystone, the Rolling Rock, or whatever the fuck it's called, the Rolling Stone, or what? Rolling Rock? Yeah. Like, so you have the lower ends, and then you have the higher ends, like the Heinekens, the fucking whatever, like the Guinness, shit like that. So, but it's like what, dude? Like, what? Like, what are you? Like, I guarantee people that were against where Bud Light stood on this thing, they didn't go and research Miller Lite. They didn't go and research Coors Light. They didn't go and research these other beer brands and making sure, like, oh, I better not support this group because they stand for this. It may not be transgender. It may be they're in support of freaking mining in Africa with child labor, whatever. Like, you know, like, who fucking knows? Who fucking, like, all I know is, like, when I go to a store, there's a budget, there's a list that I want to buy, and then there's, like, a budget that I'm kind of playing with.
Right.
And if the Great Value brand is a better deal at that time, I'm going to buy Great Value. If the freaking Tyson chicken wings are on sale that day, I'm going to buy the Tyson chicken wings. You know, like, yes, I understand there's a 0.1% of people that are going to do their research and look for who's in support of what they support.
Yeah.
But come on, guys.
But I mean, ultimately, it's giving them a voice. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like these actors now. Like, how many actors do they have now that they go back and they find some fucking racist comment they said, and now it's like, ban them. They're not allowed to. Yeah. It's the same thing with Bud Light. It's just on the other side.
Kevin Hart that was supposed to do the Oscars or something, and then
it's the same thing. You know, people find a little thing that somebody said a long time ago, and now they're paying the price for it now. It's the same thing with the beer thing, only the opposite way. People are, oh, now you're supporting this. Oh, I don't support that. It's the same way of canceling. It's just a different form. I think this is a little more. It hurts a little more at home because definitely Bud Light suffered some financially pretty significantly. And the funny thing is that right after that happened, like 3 days later, they fired the person that did the ad, and then they put out another ad that was more of a
it was like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
It showed the American flag and the Clydesdales, and it was more like patriotic, and it's just like, oh, come on, Bud Light. Now you're gonna flip flight to the other side, and you know what I mean? And that's where I think the thing people are fed up with. It's definitely affected them because they're.
Right. So what beer are we drinking now?
Nothing now. I'm done.
Oh, so you don't have any? Beer?
There's still Bud Light in there. I haven't touched it. I bought a 12-pack of Miller Lite. I bought a 12-pack of Miller Lite. Drank a few of those. They're still in there too. But I don't know. I think it's funny. I'm kind of like, I want to see how far this shit will go.
Yeah.
Like, because it's definitely caught fire, and it's funny because like now people are putting like rainbow stickers. They're going into the stores. Yeah. They're throwing rainbow stickers all over the boxes that are on the shelf. And
that's funny though.
I mean, the Dodgers are a perfect example of that too. Just a little while ago, they had a trans night that they canceled, and they didn't want the it was like a pride night at the
ballpark or whatever,
and they canceled it. And that goes to show you, like, obviously
they've had it like at the Chihuahuas, like Pride Night and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, like, dude, people are gonna go. Like, is it okay?
Well, they said more people went now because they canceled Pride Night.
No, but like,
so obviously people are having issues with the fact
but here's what's funny.
They're trying to incorporate something into something that has no politics in.
Yeah, just like,
it's like, I'm here to watch a freaking game. I'm not here to talk about politics and where my view is on transgender people.
Dude, that's like.
It should be common sense that the game is for anybody. Why you have to celebrate one person versus another?
It's because, like, I think now people feel like
Like we're gonna have Mexican night at the
when was
Dodger
it?
Stadium. Or
When's Pride Month? I don't know when
it's
Pride
this
Month is.
I think, or
This
June,
month or last
June.
month or next month.
I
Whatever.
don't know.
So it's like there was a comedian that was kind of making fun of it. He's like, "Oh, it's Pride Month. Like now, Uber, when you ask for an Uber driver and you're like watching where your Uber driver is, like you'll see like a little rainbow streak and this and that in support of Pride Month."
Yeah, or companies will change their logo.
Yeah,
to
their
a rainbow.
logo to rainbow, and it's like
their app logo. Yeah.
But again, it's like one of those things like you have to jump on or you're gonna be late to the party, right? And if you don't do it, it's like, oh well, you're the racist, or you're prejudiced, or you're the like it was kind of like the whole Instagram thing when the whole George Floyd thing was happening, and then people did like a black screen.
Yeah,
like we were kind of guilty of it too, because I sent a message to Pat. I was like, hey, because at that time Pat was running our Instagram, and I was like, yo, dude, like put a black thing,
it's
like a black screen. And it was like, again, like we fall victim to this stuff.
Yeah, that's what I mean. At least this way, people are voting with their wallets. They're not buying it. Which that seems like, oh shit. Like I think Bud Light really was like, fuck, we fucked up, because they fired people over it. So obviously it made effect. Because like some of those other companies, they changed their logo. Yeah, people might not agree with Pride, but they're still using the fucking app. You know what I mean? They're still using the fucking thing.
Look at Twisted Tea. This
Twisted
ad
Tea,
right
baby.
here,
Maybe that's what I'm gonna swap to there.
Yeah,
look, they're inclusive. Look, there's a lot of different races there.
Yeah, but you know what? They're having Twisted Tea up on like, what is it, at a lake? Like, so they're not for the common man. Like, who lives near a lake where they could rent out sea-doos and a yacht? Lakes. Yeah, I'm not in support of Twisted Tea, because they're like,
hey, they're a sponsor, right?
They're too fucking rich for us. Like, I want a beer. I want a malt beer or whatever tea that is in support of like the common man.
I'm just getting kind of tired of traditionalism and just the way we grew up vanishing. You know what I mean? We grew up with saying the Pledge of Allegiance every morning. You know what I mean? Like
that's why I'm
going to church. You know, that kind of stuff. Like I feel like,
come on, Anthony, you didn't go to church.
I might have not wanted to go, but I might not wanted to go. But I think a lot of those,
kidding, Anthony?
I think a lot of those things. Yeah, but nobody wanted to go to school either back then either. So I feel like a lot of the values though are something that you carry on with you for sure. I mean, I'm not a dedicated fucking Catholic that goes every Sunday or whatever, but I still feel like, my catechism and confirmation and all those things that they kind of taught you definitely have helped me, or at least influenced me in some of my decisions, and having compassion for people and that kind of stuff. And I feel like that's slowly dwindling away, and it's almost like other ideas and agendas have been forced on people, and that's where I feel like everybody should have the just like everybody has a voice, everybody should be able to not support something that they don't agree with. Whether it's good, they're getting their intentions are good, or maybe they're racist or whatever. I mean, the fact is that everybody should be able to voice their opinion. What irritates me, the fact is that this whole I guess transgender movement and stuff is just that it's such a minority amount of people, and these pronouns and everything, where they're feeling like it's a human right to be able to do this and do that and be called a certain way. It's like, well, get in line, motherfucker. How many black people have been oppressed? How many Mexican people have been oppressed? Native Americans have been oppressed. But yet this is such a big deal over such a small amount of people, but we still haven't even fixed some of the other issues.
I don't think we should have the attitude of like, get in line. And I know you don't mean that, because you're actually a really nice guy, but like I don't. But I do think like
it's one thing to say you're oppressed when this issue has only been a couple of years. Where you're talking like centuries of oppression.
So like there's, again, like we have these conversations not on the podcast, but like in our own personal lives and stuff. And there have been lots of people to come out that identify themselves as gay, that are actually against the whole LGBTQ plus movement and stuff, because they're like, yo, dude, you guys are kind of making a mockery of this. Like, what are you guys like? And I'm like, look, I'm not for like, I'm just telling you what like I've heard and seen from other people of that are, you know, gay and lesbian, whatever, and they talk about these things and how it makes them feel. Yeah. It's like, so there's people out there that they're like, that are in their mid to late 50s, you know, and they've lived like a whole life of being gay, right? And they're like, what are these people talking about? Like, what are they talking about in this issue? Like, how is this going to benefit you guys? And like, I think you guys are a little extreme. Like, I am of Mexican descent, right? Like, I get upset when I hear people like, oh, like, Mexicans are so oppressed. They're so like, you know, like the minorities, they put us down and this and that. Yeah. Like, I don't like that, but I also do see like there are times when people do look at, you know, our race a certain way, and I don't like that either. So again, I think it's the middle ground. I think it's important to think about these things, bring them like to the conversation, but not fucking like go overboard on it. You know, it felt like, I think everything we do, it's the ESPN mentality. You have to have a hot take.
Yes,
hot takes are what get the needle moving.
Well, of course, yeah.
Like, if it's not a hot take, we're gonna take you off air. Yeah. Like, and like, that's why, and it's not social issues. It's not politics. It's not only sports. It's everything. Everything has to have a hot take now. Our attention spans are so short. We have the inability to process information and think for a minute. Yeah. It has to be to 10, 15 seconds.
Yeah, you're either with it or you're not.
It has to be.
There's no like middle, like, or you don't care.
You have to get to your point within 15 seconds. If you can't, then you fucked up. Right. And like, that's where we're at. Like, your stance has to be within a certain number of characters, right? Yeah. Like that's where we're at right now. Yeah. Like, nobody reads stories anymore. No, articles. No. Nobody titles. Nobody headlines. Exact headlines. Yeah. Like, I brought this up on the show when
everybody's guilty of it though.
No, everyone's guilty of it, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
you see a video like, you can't believe what happened. I see what happened.
I think the problem is right now is
attention spans.
Attention span is a huge issue of where we're at. Like, I'm not so much like, oh, the right is right or wrong, or the left is right or wrong. I'm not worried about those things so much. I'm worried about like how people just can't have a conversation anymore. Yeah. Like, dude, you and I, we see the world differently.
Yes, we do. Very differently.
You and I, we have our opinions that we stand
we've
by.
We've had multiple conversations after the show that were pretty long and sometimes got heated, but
like, it's not gonna. I'm never gonna be like, well, fuck Anthony.
Yeah, like, exactly. Same.
Fuck Anthony. Like, that. Like, I can't stand that guy.
You need that though. Like, you need that because
you need a check.
Yes.
It's like parenting too. Like, you're not always gonna agree with what your parent says.
Right.
And then, but they mean well. And sometimes, like, you need a different perspective. Yes. Sometimes, like, it's like dating.
Ideas need to be challenged.
Like, exactly. Yeah. Like. It's like sometimes when you were younger, you were dating a girl and your friends would see that girl a different way than what you saw. Yeah. Because you were
just people in general.
In this
people
trance,
change over years. Like, I was a fucking hoodlum. I'll tell you this right up. I was not a contributing member of the society. You know what I mean? And so now I am. You know, and people change, but until you see the other side of the coin, you don't know what you're missing. You know what I mean? And that's where I think we've kind of failed as a society, is that it almost feels like you have to choose the dark side or the light side, or you have to be the right or the left.
Or you don't let people live through their mistakes. Yeah. You always have to bring them up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like,
people, you need to make mistakes to learn. I mean,
like, dude. Like, around it. It's like the saying, that's why pencils have erasers. Like, people are going to make mistakes. Like, if you're going to judge someone on the mistakes that they made
right.
10, 15, 20 years ago, whatever it was, when they were immature, when they were stupid, when they didn't, come across a point in their life where it changed their perspective on things,
Yeah.
then who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Like what,
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
So,
yeah, and not everybody can live in a bubble either.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to be able to.
Like, we're constantly evolving.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna, the next 3 months, I'm gonna experience some things that's gonna change the way I think.
Yep.
I'm gonna buy some things that are gonna change the way I feel about valuing certain stuff. Right. Like, I'm gonna, hopefully later on down the years, I'm gonna jump into a house that's gonna make me think differently of being a homeowner or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Like all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe later on down the road, I'm gonna have children, and it's gonna make me think differently on what I expose my children to.
Yep.
So it's all things like it's like easy to be that armchair quarterback or whatever.
Yeah.
It's easy to be that, but it's a lot harder to.
Kids for sure. I definitely see how that's affected my judgment on the way I look at things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid, I remember when CDs first came out and they had the parental advisory sticker on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, your parents are like, "Oh no, you can't be listening to that,"
Straight out of Compton.
Yeah. And then now it's like I hear some of the music now, and I'm like, I don't know if I'd want Lucas to hear this, because you'd be like, "What the fuck is that?" The WAP or whatever from Cardi B.
Yeah.
Wet ass pussy or whatever. It's like I don't know. I don't know if I want him listening to that. You know what I mean? But I can see now where how definitely your experiences are going to change your perspective. And it's a shame that. It's a shame that we can't have more conversations about that. You know what I mean? It feels like, especially in this time, man, it just feels like the world is so divided.
It's too long, Anthony. It's too long. Even the way they deal with like politics and like on Capitol Hill and stuff. They're like, the senator from Texas is now on the clock. And then it's like, okay, so blah, 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 blah. And then they literally have a time limit to get out their thing. And then people hear it, and then they're just like, yeah. They're like not even paying attention. They're just poking their nose. You can't get the whole
thing.
So it's like
10 minutes.
Like, that's why nothing ever gets solved.
Yeah.
But if you have a hot take, if you have a person who is, has the ability to say it in a way that is convincing, it may be the worst idea in the world. But if they say it in a way where it's like, oh, yeah, he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah,
people
absolutely.
Jump on board, and then they're like, that's why we have a fucking underwater fucking train or some shit. And it's like, why do we pay for this? Well, because that guy sounded super convincing.
Yeah, well, the tram that they have here. The streetcar or whatever.
Yeah,
in El Paso.
It's like some guy fucking convinced everyone.
Nobody uses it, but it costs taxpayers millions of dollars.
Yeah, like everyone's gonna love it. Yeah. Everyone's gonna love it.
The fucking
it's gonna put us on the
toll
map.
road.
Yeah,
the toll road. The only reason why people are using it right now is because it's free. You know what I mean? Like the minute that shit is.
Hey, no, actually, I do like that $3.75. I do like it.
It is nice, but are you gonna be willing to pay like $1 whatever every fucking time you pass it?
I haven't had to.
That's
Anthony.
what I'm saying.
I haven't had to.
Once the gate closes, people are probably not gonna be using it as much. I've been guilty of it too. I use it pretty often too, and it's one of the things that once you have to start paying for it, I don't know if I'll probably use it. I'll be stuck in traffic on I-10 unless there's like an emergency and I have to get somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for the most part, you're right. I mean, you get a politician up there that knows what they're doing and very persuasive. I mean, it can swing people one way or the other.
Yeah, and I was telling Yachty this, like,
what'd you think about that? They want to do a freaking statue just like the one in Juarez, the X. They want to do one on our side.
Like, how are they gonna pay for it?
Taxes. Everyone's gonna pay for it.
Then I think it's kind of dumb.
That's what I'm saying.
But then I say that, like,
that's
right
where
now,
I was talking about the Bud Light thing.
Then I say that about,
I'm not paying for that shit.
Yeah, but nobody's taking out, like, Bud Light's not taking out taxes. Like,
no, but people are like, I'm not gonna support this anymore. I'm not gonna pay for it. And I mean. You're doing the same thing.
Yeah, but I think you have a choice where the fucking this fucking statue going up, you don't have a choice. Yeah. It's kind of like, I mean, you have a choice in terms of voting.
It's like, how about we get fucking better schools for our kids? Maybe that might be a better spent money than a stupid statue. I don't know, but just a thought.
Yeah.
Maybe the roads get a little bit better. You know what I mean? It's just like I don't understand that.
Speaking of roads, I no,
Yeah.
like, dude. Okay, I have a little complaint. Let's remove ourselves
All right,
from
yeah,
this fucking,
let's move on.
because that's a fucking rabbit hole in itself.
and
like,
it's something you have to tiptoe through.
I think one time we spent
We were
like
off air,
5 hours just talking
definitely hear a
about
different
this.
opinion.
Yeah, and then at the end, like, I was driving home and I was like, "Fuck him, fuck that guy." And then like 2 days later, I was like, "Yo, Aaron, what's up?" No, but no. All right, so like I got my car. It's not even a year old, and fucking I got a crack in my windshield.
Oh no!
And then I was like, "Fuck, dude,
Damn it!
this sucks." Then I'm like, "All right, well, I'm gonna call up like the car dealership that I bought it from and be like, yo,
Safe
do I have like?" Yeah, well, and then they were like, "Well, how big is it?" And I'm like, it's like 2 feet."
How
and
big is it?
It's like,
Look up the car, motherfucker.
oh no, the crack on the windshield.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Yeah, and then
they let you go out there and measure the windshield.
Yeah,
Damn, they
and
suck.
No. They were like, "How big's the crack on the windshield?" And then I was like, it's like 2 feet and growing." And then they're like, "Oh no, that's too big. Like, we won't cover that and shit." And I was like, "Fuck." So then I was like, "All right, I'm gonna call. Oh well, I'm gonna look like where I can do it." And it's like Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace. And then I'm like, "All right, let's do this." So fucking went on the little app and everything, and then I plugged in all the things I needed to plug in. Turns out that I needed to take it in. Like, like they weren't going to be able to do it there because I have like this camera that needs to be calibrated when they put on a new windshield. And I was like, fuck it, whatever. My deductible was like $495 or some shit. So, and then like the total cost was like $800, $900, some shit like that. And I was like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
So then I go and take it in. Takes them a couple hours, get it done. As I was driving home, there's scratches on the windshield. The brand new one that they just put.
Are you kidding me?
Like scratches, Anthony. Like scratches. It looked like fucking Wolverine was trying to get in through the front. And I was like, what the hell, dude? Like I just spent 800 and something.
Yeah.
I only paid $495.
Yeah, still, but you paid
but
the
I was like,
of it.
But I was like, yo, dude, like, yeah, the majority came out of my pocket. Like I at least want a windshield that doesn't have scratches. So then I called him up, and I wasn't gonna go that same day because I was like, fuck this. I got other shit to do. I don't have another 2.5 hours. So then I was like, I called him up, and then they're like, well, can you bring it in next week? And I was like, fuck. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna bring it in on Friday, and let's see if I can work from there, because they have like little workstations. They have like these little food trays. So then I was like, I think I could do that, and then still like not miss work. Yeah, because I could still work from there. And okay, whatever. So I take it in, take it out, and I was like, yeah, that's great. Like it was covered, like, because I had because it's supposedly like a lifetime warranty after you get it replaced. But I was like, okay, that was that. Well, now my fucking car, the light turned on, the tire light, and I was like, oh shit, like I have low tires or whatever. And I'm like, shit. So then yesterday I went to like Discount, and I was like, yo, dude, can you guys like calibrate my tires correctly, like put air in them? And they're like, yeah, for sure, because like I have the warranty at the dealership that I bought it. But like when you take your car in for to the dealerships, they take forever. You either got to be like the first one in line, like at 6 a.m, or like you're gonna be there all fucking day, and they'll keep your car for like 2 days and shit. So then I was like, fuck, just put air in my tire or like fix it. Well, they're like, no, you're all good to go. The light hasn't turned off. And I'm like, fuck, dude, like what the fuck? Like, I mean, the car's driving great, but then I was like, dude, is the light just like, does it turn off? Do I need to reset it? Like, and I was like looking up, on YouTube and like trying to read the fucking manual. Who am I kidding? I wasn't reading the manual, but I was like, God, dude, like I fucking buy this car. It's all fucking like nice and everything, but then like I just feel like every month there's like something else that I got to deal with. And like, it's fucking bullshit, man. Like,
Yeah.
I hate cars, man.
Yeah.
Waiting
Yeah,
for
that
the
sucks.
day where I get to ride my scooter, rollerblade.
We need flying cars.
Nah, but that's where I'm at right
Man,
now.
that sucks, dude. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
It's
So,
fucking pain. Toyota kind of did the same thing to with us. The fucking clear coat's like peeling off on the car, and we looked, and there was like there was a recall on the paint.
yeah.
So we took it to the dealership, and fucking they look at it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, there is a recall on the paint, but it's only for white cars." I'm like, white cars, dude? Are you fucking kidding me? It's the same damn clear coat you put on
Fucking
all
white
the
privilege,
colors.
huh? White privilege,
I was
huh?
like, are you kidding
It's
me,
only for
man?
white
So
cars.
it's just like, what the fuck? You guys put the same clear coat on all the cars. Like, I don't understand how it only applies to one color, but whatever. So
Yeah.
it's shitty when they fucking pull the rug out from underneath you like
Yeah.
that. You know, they give you the, oh yeah, you have this warranty and everything's, you know, and then you come to find out like, nah, that shit ain't covered. You know, it's like, damn it, man, I got bamboozled.
Yeah,
And it's
no.
like, fuck.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. Like, it just pisses me off that. And then, like, the whole insurance thing, like the $495 deductible that I had to pay, and I'm like, what the fuck am I paying insurance
Yeah,
for? Like,
exactly.
what's going on? Like, I mean, I did have that accident, like, and like the insurance did cover it, but
Yeah.
then I was like, when you
Get
see
you
it,
one way or another.
yeah, you see it from another side, and then you're like, fuck, man, fucking insurance is bullshit. It's a fucking scam.
Yep.
But then when you actually need it, you're like, oh, thank God I have insurance.
Thank God I had it. Yeah.
Nah, man, but
Well, that sucks, man. Did
yeah.
it finally go away?
Huh?
Did it finally go away? Or is
No, it's still there.
It's
I was
still
actually gonna tell you, like, hey, Anthony, fucking
fucking
maybe you need-
sensors probably rattling around inside the tire.
The what?
The sensor itself.
What about it?
It probably broke inside the wheel, and so it's just rolling around inside there.
Oh fuck, that's a thing.
Yeah, it's so the valve stem where you put air in.
Uh huh.
On the other side of that, there's where the sensor is that reads the pressure.
Oh,
And I had that happen on the Jeep. I think it was a Jeep when I first had the original white wheels. And sometimes you just hit a fucking pothole.
uh-huh.
And you hit it right on that spot, and it breaks internally. And so, is it saying low, or is it just like not giving you any numbers?
It's just a little icon.
Oh,
like,
then yeah,
it-
who knows?
it's just the icon. But
It might
then,
be
like,
broken.
I went, and then they're like, okay, you're all good. And then I'm like,
Yeah, that's-
it'll turn off, like, cause
Nah,
like,
they're stupid.
like-
It should read instantly. So there's probably something wrong with it. They just didn't want to dismount the tire and look at it and fix it.
oh no, I was saying like, I'll turn off right now, like,
Oh,
cause like, there's been times like in my old car, like the sensor would say like, oh, you need air in your tire, and then like I fucking do it, and then like as I'm driving, it like goes away, like maybe like half a mile, it'll go away or whatever. And this one's like, okay, 3 days now, what's going on?
yeah, that might be broken. I guarantee you what he did is he went and just checked the pressure on all the tires and like, oh, they're good. See you later.
Oh no, yeah. I told him put air in my tire, like calibrate it correctly, and he's like,
yeah, but just me, the mechanic, thinking like, okay, well, if I check the pressure and the pressure's good, but it's still saying the pressure's wrong,
yeah,
obviously the sensor's fucked up.
yeah.
More than
No,
likely, he just
I need to take it into the dealership because, like I said, I am paying this warranty for it, like this tire warranty, whatever it is.
yeah, they should be able to cover it there.
But
It's gonna
I
take
just
half
don't
your
want.
day.
I just don't want to like waste a day,
Yeah,
like, because I'm busy at work.
Yeah.
Like this is like.
I
the
mean,
whole-
honestly, you don't need it, dude. You just fucking look at your tire. Does it look low? No, then you're good to go.
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
one of those sensors that.
But
just,
it is annoying to like look at
Yeah.
your dash and then you're like, fuck, that light.
fucking light is
like,
still on.
It's just like, good morning, Dave. I like fuck
hey,
you.
bro, you remember me?
And I'm like, my name's not Dave, you asshole. No, but anyways, before we wrap up, Anthony, I wanted to ask you one more thing.
Shoot.
We didn't get a chance to cover this, but the NFL draft,
Ah,
where the
yes.
Cowboys were, were you happy with all their picks? Were you happy, or like were you disappointed, or you like don't even care?
I wasn't as depth into it like the year the last year where we had the whole stats on every player and everything. But
The year you were in the war room
yeah.
and you fucking printed out like
yeah.
2
I had
fucking
Jerry on
novels.
speed dials. Like, oh, you need to look at this
You
guy.
had the
from-
whole fucking Harry Potter series
Yeah.
fucking printed out and shit.
Yeah.
But hold on, well, keep on talking. I'm gonna grab a Bud Light.
Yeah,
see
go
what
for it.
happens.
Go for it. So yeah, I wasn't as into it as like I was years past, but I'm pretty happy with who we've gotten. at least just kind of reading the reports and some of the stuff that the scouts have said, they seem like they're pretty decent people. I will say that our defense, I think, has definitely gone up significantly. I think our defense is going to be one of those top tier defenses, man. We got a lot of good players. I was kind of cool. I don't know if you heard about the whole story about that Deuce Vaughn guy that we drafted. It was in the 6th round.
Deuce Bigelow, male gigolo.
But his
did I move that camera?
You did move that camera.
Oh shit! Where am I going now?
You're good.
I'm good.
I'll fix it right now. So yeah. So anyways, they basically here. Let me actually.
All right. Anthony's fixing my camera because I was a dumbass that moved it.
So yeah. Anyways, so his dad is actually.
Like, you just move the camera and I just keep on moving.
Stop moving.
It's got me right.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, okay, whatever.
You're right in the middle.
Our last 2 episodes, we didn't even put
So yeah. Anyways, so his dad is a scout for the Cowboys. He's been a scout for the last couple of years, and it was pretty cool, man. He got to call his son and tell him that he got drafted to.
That's wild.
So that was cool. You know, he basically called his son. Is like, hey son.
Hey mijo.
He's like, how would you like to go to work with me on Monday? And his son was like, Dad, that'd be awesome. And he's like, well, we just put your name in your draft for the Cowboys. So that was pretty cool. He's a small player. He's like 5'8", I believe.
Oh shit.
Running back. From Kentucky.
What
State.
round?
6th round, I believe.
Oh,
Might have been 5th or 6th.
That's fucking crazy.
But yeah, that was pretty cool, man. It was definitely it was cool to see that happen. They've said it's like the first time that's ever happened, and Jerry Jones kind of played a prank on him, was like, his son's name's up there on the board, and he's the top one on their board, and so Jerry's kind of like, well, I think we should take this tight end from so and so, and his the guy's kind of like, whatever.
Yeah.
So he's trying to be professional, and he's like, yeah, that guy's really good, this and this and that, and then so last minute Jerry's like, we're gonna draft your son, and so that was pretty cool to see. And just,
yeah.
It's
like they draft the son and then they let the guy go.
Oh fuck.
They let the dad go. They're like, well, we want your son, but you're actually costing us a lot of money and you haven't produced the last couple of years.
Well, there's talks about what his number is going to be, because his name is Deuce, and so he had a 22 in college. And so he doesn't want to take Emmitt Smith's number, but
Deuce.
Yeah, but I think I think Jerry and everything have kind of given him the okay. So I don't know. It'll be kind of interesting to see what his number is going to be. Sure. But yeah, man, I feel good with our draft picks. I was pretty happy. I was watching it in Orlando, I believe. So that was
in Orlando.
Yeah, the last 3 I've been in a hotel.
That's fucking
yeah. So.
Hey, do you have a bottle opener?
I was just gonna ask you the same thing.
Hold on.
I think there's one on top of the fridge over there.
Oh shit! All right, now I gotta move again. Hold on. Just don't move this fucking camera. Oh, there we go. Hold on. All right.
But hey, I was gonna tell you. So you know me, I always wear my Cowboys hat, right? And so I was actually on my way to Houston from Atlanta, and I was on Southwest, and one of the flight attendants there, he was a Niners fan. And so as soon as he saw my Cowboys hat, he just started giving me shit, like big time. Like,
oh man,
fucking Cowboys and this and that, and just talking a bunch of trash, right? And then this motherfucker kept on and on talking trash to the point where as he's doing the exit row, the little spiel for, how to
he was calling you out.
Yeah, he was like, for you Cowboys fans out there, this is the oxygen mask for when you choke. I'm like, dude, just kept calling me out in front of everybody. Even the people around me were looking at me like, damn, like this guy won't let up, really. I'm like, he's a Niner fan. Fucking let him, But yeah, man, it was pretty funny. It was just like he just kept on and on about it. I was like, damn, man, cut me some break.
Here,
the funniest thing is
catch.
The funniest thing is that he actually lived in Dallas, and he was an ex-police officer, but he was part of the horseback. What do they call them? The ones that ride the horses for riot control and stuff.
Cowboys.
That's exactly what I told him. I said, so you mean to tell me you're an actual cowboy in Dallas and you're a Niners fan? And he was like, oh yeah. But yeah, so that's the kind of shit I get when I'm out.
Wouldn't let that bother me.
No, I didn't, but it was the first time that I've been ever put on blast like that in front of an entire freaking plane, you know. But no, how'd you feel about your all draft?
Honestly, we didn't even draft to like what the third or fourth round or some shit like that.
Missing a few picks,
So
huh?
I was just like, yeah, whatever. Like, but the way I see it is like, dude, some of our best players have come late in the draft.
Yeah,
You know,
under
so
the radar guys.
so it's kind of like
We'll see.
I don't know, man. It's hard for me every year. Again, I feel like we get duped because we're so hungry for football. We're like salivating. We're like NFL. I just need
I know.
NFL. You know.
Yep.
And then they can fucking put out the schedules, and everyone's like, yeah. They have the NFL draft, and everyone's the combine and shit.
Yep.
Oh my god! And it's like they're just trying, like,
Amp it up, baby.
it's just that foreplay, you know.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
just
yeah.
like getting you wet, like, and it's like, nah, dude. Like, at the end of the day, you want actual football. So, it's hard for me to, because we don't know what's gonna happen with these guys.
Yeah, it's a gamble.
If we knew, there wouldn't be such thing as bust, you know.
Yep.
So it's like I heard the other day, like, the Cowboys, they didn't want Micah Parsons, like, when they originally drafted him.
Yeah, he fell into their lap.
Yeah, they wanted someone else or
Yeah,
whatever.
tight end.
And then they're like, well, I guess we got Micah
I think
Parsons.
it was Philly actually
And
was
then-
going to pick him.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
If we hadn't picked him, I think Philly was going to pick him next. From what I heard.
yeah. So, like, the point is, like, fucking, you're now, like, your most valuable prized possession is Michael Parsons.
Yeah,
like,
Dak, same thing.
and then, but like, he's a guy that just, it was like
beast,
kind of,
man.
it was kind of a mistake, you
Yeah.
know? So sometimes I feel just like it's a toss up. And I mean, yeah, it's cool to get excited for like a new pick and the potential
The potential.
of what,
That's
yeah,
a good word there.
the potential of what can be the possibility of
Yep.
making a Super Bowl run. Like, yeah, like, but whatever. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, see, man, I'm itching for football.
The thing that is kind of confusing for me is I don't know who my freaking quarterback is going to be.
Yeah.
Like it was funny because like a month ago or whatever, Brock Purdy was at a San Francisco Giants game, and they introduced him as like, your quarterback, Brock Purdy, and everyone gave him fucking standing O, like fucking
The flowers and everything.
And then, like, people are writing in the comments, like, because I saw it on Instagram, people are writing in the comments, like, yeah, that's my quarterback. Like, that's a dude. And shit like that, right?
Yeah.
And then, like, a couple of weeks after that, Trey Lance was at a Oakland A's game. And they, like, introduced him, like, oh, like, the fucking quarterback of, your like, because, like, they were at an Oakland game. But it's like the quarterback of the Bay or some shit like that. And then people are like, oh shit, like Trey Lance, that's the guy, you know, like, oh, it's tough that he got hurt or whatever. So, like, I'm like, dang, dude, we're kind of like, we have two guys. Like, was Brock Purdy a fluke? Was he like, oh, it's because it's kind of like Dak. When the starting job fell into Dak's hands, like at the beginning, people were like, oh shit, like, Dak looked like fucking Patrick Mahomes and shit.
Sure.
You know, like, people are like, fuck yeah, like, and we got him for the rest of his career, you know, like, oh shit, like, and we got him on a good deal. And then it's kind of like just trended down since Dak's explosion, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, is Purdy going to be that guy? Is Purdy, because, like, look at the quarterbacks that we've had in the past. Like, I mean, look at Colin Kaepernick. When he first took the job over Alex Smith on that Monday Night Football game, people were like, oh, shit, dude, Colin Kaepernick's the shit. Like, dude, that guy's badass. And then we, like, signed him to this long-term deal. Like, oh, dude, we were so happy, right? And then then, like, you realize, like, Colin Kaepernick's a little one-dimensional. Like, he could only do certain things. And, you know, like, people, again, film came out on him, how to play against Colin Kaepernick. Then
It's a
like
big part of it.
fast forward some years later, we get Jimmy G, and then we're like, oh shit, Jimmy G went undefeated his first 5-6 games or some shit like that at the end of the season, and people are like excited. He ends up taking us to a Super Bowl. Like, dude, just like the excitement of Jimmy G.
Yeah.
But then the critics start coming out like, oh, he can't win the big one. Oh, this guy, he can't. He could
so
get you to
hard,
the
though.
playoffs, but he can't take that next step into elitism or whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? So now we're shopping for another quarterback, and then it's like we get Trey Lance, and we hear all these amazing things about him, and then he fucking gets hurt, and then Brock Purdy falls in, and then Brock Purdy goes like 7-0 or 6-0, whatever, in the regular season. Unfortunately, he has that injury in the fucking championship game. And then you're like, oh, well, is he the starter now? Is Trey Lance the starter? You're going to give him that chance. And then they just recently signed Sam Darnold, obviously as a backup.
Right. Yeah,
Because,
history of the other two.
but it's like, oh, like right now, our quarterbacks have been unhealthy. So it's like, was Sam Darnold the guy that you really wanted as that third quarterback option? Maybe we should have gone out and got in like a true like a mid-tier starter that like, but then it's like, well, if you have 3 quarterbacks, you don't have 1 quarterback. Yeah, like that's kind of like the saying they say is like, if you have 2 quarterbacks on your roster, it's because you don't have 1.
Yeah,
and that's kind of how I feel right now about the 49ers. We have 3 guys on our roster at quarterback. We have Sam Darnold, who started games in the past, who has started like fairly recently.
Drafted,
Who's now seen as a backup. We have Brock Purdy. Is he now going to be the backup guy when Trey Lance comes back? Is like I don't know what we have. I don't even know if we have a quarterback. I really don't know. Like. And then they're so hush-hush on, like, when's he going to return?
Yeah.
For both guys, Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. So I'm like, are we starting the season with Sam Darnold? Like, what the fuck's going on? Like, it's weird. So it's hard for me to kind of get excited, like, about football. Because, I mean, I'm excited, but
It's too many unknowns.
I'm nervous. Because I'm like, shit, dude. Because I know we have one of the best teams in the NFC, yet we don't have a quarterback. And what's going on? Like, we were just in this situation a few years ago when you wanted to get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yep.
And it's like, all this time has passed and we still don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, I still don't know. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man.
I'm anxious, though. I'm you know me, man. I'm big football, so I'm ready for football season to come back around.
But
we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So, anyways, last words, Anthony, before we wrap up.
Man, I miss seeing you, man. Like I said, it's been a while since I've talked to you. I think a lot of people think that, like, you know, we talk all the time and stuff, and it's not as much as I would like. It's been a while since I've seen you, man. So it's definitely good seeing you.
Yeah. What people don't know is you don't have that long distance phone call. I like on your wireless plan.
Well, I mean, I think out of all the guys, you and me probably talk more.
Yeah.
You know, between each other than Pat and Peter. But again, man, everybody's just so busy and stuff. I really wish they could have come just to catch up and everything. But wish those guys the best. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Pat's having another baby, so that's pretty crazy.
Matter of fact, I saw Pat, when was it? Maybe a couple weeks or 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago. I don't know when it was. It was for the Ryan Garcia and
fight.
Who was it? Javonte Davis, Ryan Garcia. I saw it at his apartment.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Nice.
so that was cool, man. It was nice to like fucking see Pat and like
guapito.
Yeah, and then like he was even like, yo, man.
I'm proud of Pat, man. He's grown up.
Yeah, he's like, yo, man, I'm just here. Like, you're welcome to come. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. And he's like, but he was like, but like, it's not a party, man. Like, so I don't know what I don't know what you're expecting. I was like, dude, I just want to watch the fight.
Yeah, I just want to hang out, man.
It just exactly like I felt like he had to like
pull out all the stops. And
like host me, like
yeah,
like,
nah.
and I was like, nah, dude, it's not even like that.
Yeah,
like,
just a company.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a good day, and fucking we hung out for a little bit. It's just hard, man. It's hard to get with everyone.
Yeah, it is for
Like
sure.
if it's not you that's busy,
Maybe we need to get that freaking like Google
what is it? Starlight?
Starlight, yeah, Project Starlight.
Project Starlight.
Yeah, we need to get that so we can all be.
But see, it's only one person though.
Well, we'll all be at our own houses, and we'll just do a split screen where we'll all kind of like feel like we're all there. I don't know.
Fuck, you're gonna.
We'll see. Maybe the TMO budget will.
You're gonna have to take out another mortgage.
Just to sell some more shirts.
Nah, yeah. So, anyways, that's where we're at right now, guys. Thank you for tuning in because, yeah, we know we haven't put out any content in forever, but we're gonna try to get back in.
Yes,
hopefully.
sure.
If we're not locked out of our Instagram, that was one of the things we talked about. We kind of got locked out of our Instagram.
Yeah.
But we'll figure it out. If not, we're gonna have to hire some fucking IT guy to see what he can do for us. But that being said, this was The Middle's Open.
Peace.